Welcome to the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast with your host, life coach Jeff Relaford. This podcast is designed for those who wish to change their inner self in order to maximize outward potential. So come redirect, regroup, and refocus with your number one life coach, Jeff Relaford.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Life Coach Jeff, coming to you again at another episode of the Redirect, Refocus podcast. And guess what? I got my boy here, my cuz, Ron Reid of the what?
VNO, what you know, VNO podcast. We are ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
There it is. And we are here today. As the title reads, people. Okay, first, I have to say this. First and foremost, we have to let people know where we at today. Mm-hmm. We're at Level Up Cigar Lounge in Dyer, Indiana.
Dope place, man.
Dope place, dog.
Yeah.
You can come out here, you can get you a cigar, you can get you a drink, and the vibe is a little different, people. The vibe is a little bit more
hookah.
on the, yes, hookah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, too. They do hookah. They just don't do cigars, here, people. They do hookah, too.
Yeah.
So this actually appeals to all ages. If you're younger and you can't smoke a cigar, guess what? You can come to Level Up in Dyer and get you a great quality hookah.
Level Up Cigar Lounge.
There it is. Level Up Cigar Lounge. There it is. So, all right, man. So, listen, as the title reads, we are talking about today how to navigate through the failure of your life. And, you know, it's good because my cuz came up with this topic because I told him he was going to choose today. So, this is what we on. So, I want to ask you, man, through your eyes, what do you feel failure is?
A lot of people might not look at failure as this, but I look at it as if you try something and you have a goal in mind and you don't meet that goal, then it might just be failure. I'm not saying failure can't be a learning experience, but it's still, it can still be failure.
Okay.
It still is failure.
Okay.
People don't like nowadays people don't like to accent the negative.
Okay.
But hey, it is what it is, man. I'm finding that out in my life, bro. Like, call it what it is or go crazy.
So if you mess up, you mess up. Just accept it.
You mess up, man. And I think, and you take accountability for it and you learn from it and you move on, you know? Mm-hmm. But I picked this topic, man, because I found myself navigating a lot of failure.
Okay.
In my personal life.
Okay. And if you don't mind sharing, what kind of failure were you navigating in, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I think I shared it on my podcast, and I was also on another podcast, and I shared it. Shop Talk 7, man. Y'all check it out, man. Check it out on YouTube, Facebook, Shop Talk 7. Some dope cats, man. Really, really dope dudes, man. And there's a whole story behind that, too. I don't know if I can quite share it yet, but Shop Talk 7, I was going to be on there I was watching their podcast on Thursday. Just some crazy stuff happened, man. Y'all check them out, man. I'm sure they'll let you know what went down, but it was crazy. It was crazy. It had me thinking about life all over again. But yeah, man.
Failures.
Yeah, failures, man. Are just failures and trying in life and not quite succeeding. And I find myself at this point where I'm going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that? I don't know, man. Maybe it is some people that want to go through a divorce. I think it's
tell you, man, when I went through mine, y'all, I did not want to go through mine. My thing is, you know, you love a person, you really do, but sometimes that just fizzles away. And it's sad that happens, but it happens with people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You know, I don't look at my first marriage as a failure. I look at it as it was a learning experience. It taught me some things. And now I'm with my now said wife, and I'm great.
Yeah.
You know, it's not I'm worried about. But I know you going through yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just take us to that mindset. What exactly did you think you failed in? You know what I mean? That took you to that point.
I mean, man, it's so many emotions and so many emotions that go into it that I never would have thought. Number one, man, like, you know, I was with this person for 20 years. And like, I mean, in my mind, it's like, man, if they would have only understood me, then maybe we wouldn't be here. maybe, and I don't know, man. I feel like I could have tried harder. There are things that I could have done.
Okay.
And then there was things, man, that I know myself enough that if this is what it was going to take to make this marriage good, then I absolutely wouldn't have been able to go there. I can't change who I am.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't change who I am. And I got to the point where I was the first one actually to bring up divorce because being sympathetic to her, I didn't want her to change who she is. And granted, I do understand all of this is my point of view because I've heard so many people say they don't necessarily know me like, well, this is your point of view. Okay, yeah, that's cool, man. I'll take that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll take that. But this is all my point of view. And I'll just be talking about me. I don't want to.
Okay. And I want to let people know out there who are watching too. Once again, this is from his own experience, his own eyes. You know what I mean? A lot of people, at times, a lot of us, we go through the same stuff. So honestly, it's just be open as he's giving his own quote unquote testimony on it because, the divorce is something that can be hard or easy for people. Most people I see where divorce is easy, it's more like you already just made up your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real talk. It was easy for me because I'd already made up my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe the other person that kind of seen some of the writing on the wall too. Maybe she didn't see as much of it as I did or wasn't as clear about it, but we both saw something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, would you say it's a part of that acceptance that you just have to do, right? When it comes with the divorce, right?
It's the acceptance. It's crazy, man, that we talking about this because I totally forgot that I saw this, but I heard it was a cat off of a reel or a podcast, but he said something along the lines of that. He said there are men out there that are more in love with their routine than they are the woman that they're with.
Wow.
And and so
that's a real strong statement. But I think I can understand that because as a man, what happens is we get so involved in what we do. At times, it can either be for the individual that we're with or just tasks in general. We get so immersed into that task that a lot of times we look at the importance of it. Like, let's say, for instance, you go to a job to feed your family, provide for your family.
Right.
The level of importance for you to move in the realm of that job is very high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's number one priority.
Yeah.
So nobody said your wife or her feelings, anything like that was the number one priority, but you're doing what instinctually involves you as being the provider, right? Wanting to keep up the family, wanting to do for the family, make sure that you and your wife and your kids have what it is, have the means to survive.
Right.
That's on you.
Yeah, it's on me. Yeah.
I get what you're saying because I once was at that point, so I understand that completely.
Yeah, you get caught up in a routine. And so I don't know, man. I'm not a routine type of cat, but I think there are certain routines that I did get caught up in my marriage. But also, man, there were probably things you gotta be able to. One thing I learned is you got to be able to allow people to be human, and that means to do like the person that you with, and that means to allow them to be who they are, however toxic it can be at times.
My man, if you could move up a little bit, I think you're being blocked by the logo. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Sir.
All right.
You got a lot of people to see your beautiful face.
Yeah, I'll move up.
There you go.
But yeah. I don't know if I was more so caught up in the routine. I was actually the first one to come up with the idea of possibly not being together. And
what sparked that?
Well, it said I was tired of the routine and I wanted to grow with her. And
you just felt like she couldn't grow at a certain point. That's what it was. Or let me put it this way, so it doesn't fall on one person. You felt at some point in time there was a point to where now we can't grow together.
Yeah, we can't grow together, and I wanted to grow together, and that's, and whether that's we kind of needed an outside point of view to figure out whether, that's me or her. Like, I wasn't going to put it all on her. You know what I mean? Even though she had some things, you know what I mean? Of course, that's all I can see is her. And I could open up my mind to also know that, hey man, there's certain compromises I'm going to have to make too. You know what I mean? And I feel like that I just failed at that communication. You know what I mean? Could I ever succeed? Sometimes I wonder, could I ever succeed at that? I don't know. And then also, man, what I found is, I said, man, I think it was God just trying to show me that I'm not him. You know, and
in terms of
that when you do succeed a lot, man, it's just like at the Tower of Babel. Like, you know, these people built this, they start building this, and it was like, well, can we do it? And then you start building it, you say, yes, we can do this. And then as you get higher and higher, you like, can't nothing stop us. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so I think when you succeed a lot, and I think I was at a point in my life where it was success after success after success.
Yeah.
And you almost get not arrogant about it, but like, you know, well, I'll just do it. You know, you need something fixed in your life, I'll just do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. You know what I mean? And then it got to the point where I started slowly but surely failing people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Telling people I'll be a certain place, and then it was like, I started overscheduling, and it's like, or I started not counting in my mental health and my state of being, to the point where it was like, man, I can't be there for that person. I tried, you know.
So do you believe that you were very task oriented in that? Do you think that was kind of, you know, that statement you said earlier about being so task oriented, you know what I mean, and having that overtake everything? Do you think you being task oriented with people was that, excuse me, oh my gosh, sorry, y'all. I've been out here. You know, we got some drinks in here. You know, we doing adult things. It still is an adult podcast as well. We're not going to really cuss too hard to do nothing on here because we're respectful. But, you know, I belched. But anyway, yeah, do you feel that was the routine? You know what I mean? That you kind of fell into, wanted to do for others and other people. You know, and it kind of gets overshadowed by you having to do for your wife. I don't know. You know what I mean?
You know what? I think it was like somebody had actually said something. And a lot of this, man, it still hurts. But hey, it's the truth. Wow.
One of my lights went out, people. This happens. We live. We recording here. Yeah, one of my lights went out.
That's cool.
I knew this might happen, but we gonna keep rolling. We on a good. We not on 100 over here, but I'm gonna turn that sucker down a bit. Go ahead, man. You gonna tell me stuff over there.
Well, I think what it was I and somebody actually said it, but I think that I probably I probably stayed because I things weren't going. I didn't have that connection in my marriage like I wanted to have.
Okay.
I think that I did go out and feed that energy to other people instead of trying to feed it back into my marriage because there wasn't a connection like I needed it to be.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
At the same time, I don't think she could connect like I needed her to connect.
Okay.
Yeah, and I say needed because that's what I needed. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
In my podcast, you'll hear me say constantly that I have a need. I have a need to understand, and I have a need to be understood, whether I agree with you or not.
Yeah.
Especially those that are close to me. I want to understand you.
Yeah.
And however much explaining that takes, I would think that the love would cause you to explain yourself to me.
But what do you say? What do you say about the people who kind of can't get through that? You know what I mean? It's like it's more so of a skill that they have to learn on how to explain that to people.
How to express themselves.
How to express themselves. Yeah. How to really dig deep sometimes.
And that's where I say that I probably was expecting too much. You know what I mean? Yeah, I probably was expecting too much, and for maybe where she was at, you know what I mean? But I felt that I had a need for that. Now I'm sure, and that's where my brain hits a wall, man, because it's like, well, what could I have done? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm this person, man. They got to put out this energy, and then I think as the more I tried to help her to understand me, there was more misunderstanding. Yeah. I think there also was some emotions on her side, and this was void of emotion for me, because it was void of emotion with me trying to get myself to understand you, and and for you to understand me. And at times, man, I just felt like I felt unheard, and I felt like she didn't care to understand me. And that's probably
Okay.
it's crazy, man, because it's probably that's probably a toxic, no lie, that's probably something toxic that I took away from that, because now
Okay.
I'm trying to fight this thought that women don't care to understand men.
So do you think that it's more so like maybe it's not that they don't care to understand. Maybe it's that they just don't know how. Maybe she just didn't know how to get you. You know what I mean?
No, because I think, man, it gets to a point where like they, and I hate to say this, man, because it's like I don't want this toxic trait to stand, but I need somebody to come and break it. But I think they don't. Not all women. I'm generalizing.
Okay.
But a lot of them that I've met
thus far,
yeah. I'm dealing with somebody. Well, not dealing with somebody, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been out here just playing the field, man, since this divorce has happened, and I've just met. I haven't met a lot of toxicity, but I have met a fair share, a fair amount. You know what I mean? A fair amount, and I'm learning how to allow them to be human. And with allowing somebody to be human, maybe these toxic traits might come out, and you just have to a certain extent, man. Everybody's going to have something. So I'm learning that maybe, okay, what do I allow and what do I not allow? What can I take and what can I not take?
I feel you.
You know, because I think everybody has to ask themselves that whenever you get involved with a human being.
That's true.
What can you take and what's your limit of like, love is supposed to have no limit, but yeah.
You know, that's everybody. Let's be realistic. You know, everybody has a limit. You know, at some point in time, I think a part of what comes with those limits is, especially in the beginning when you're with somebody. But it's hard, man, because people change over time. You know, and that's one of the things we have to actually consider when we look at relationships, marriages, people in general.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be the same person that you was 20 years old.
Right.
Going into 40. Right. You know what I mean? You're not going to be same person when you're going to 40, going into 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just certain things in life that we have to adapt to and deal with. Like, I'm newly married, y'all. I'm newly married. Life coach Jeff Rutherford is newly married here. We coming up on our 2-year anniversary, September 19th. 2
years. Wow.
2 years. Yes,
wow.
It's amazing. It's nice. I'm actually celebrating the years now.
Right.
That's all too. Just like,
count down.
That's it. You know what I mean?
You got hats marked on the wall.
I know, right? But I'm celebrating this now. So, September 19th, you know, my wife, Megan. I love you, baby. That's how we roll, you know. But, you know what I mean? When it comes down to when you're looking at how all of this stacks up and you're looking at how you balance all this through the hard times, because, you know, failure is different for people. You know what I mean? We define it in different ways.
Yeah.
So as we look at this, and it could be a potential failure, you know, do you also see the positives from this? Now, I want to say this for the people watching. When we start talking about positives of a divorce or anything that you let go, the whole point of this is because it's not an aha moment for somebody. It's not an aha moment to say, I told you so to the person. You know, I have to say this to the people in the camera because y'all have to understand this. What we mean out here, what I'm trying to say is when I ask this question to him is that, are you okay, or are you able to deal with the fact that you may be able to accept some good that can come out of it? Because whenever you divorce somebody, you're leaving for a reason. You should better yourself after that. If you do worse than that, what was the whole point of you leaving the person that you were with before? You could have stayed with them and worked it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the point I'm trying to make. So people, y'all really got to understand the dynamic of this, because I'm not saying And I agree with divorce. I've been through divorce. I'm not saying that nobody should happen, but I'm saying that it shouldn't happen to nobody, but I'm saying it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to accept the fact, people, that this actually happened.
Yeah, it happens.
So yes, what good can you embrace from this part of it?
The good that I can embrace, and the point that I think that I'm coming to, as far as, let's not just say divorce, failure, period.
Failure, period.
Yeah, because I find, like I said, man, I find myself, man, it's just things that I've been trying, and that feels like they've failed.
You might still good.
Yeah, I'm still good.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I feel like, I mean, and when you're in the middle of a divorce, you are kind of in limbo. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really move.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things you can't do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't. It makes it a little bit harder to just move on, and so you find yourself in this limbo of failure. And I mean, what I've learned how to do, man, is just accept it, and you do what you can, and you don't beat yourself up over the failure, and you try to find where you can learn from it, and you try to find these mindsets so that when you do get to that point where it's time to succeed, that you aren't just trash. You know what I mean? Because if you keep going through failure after failure after failure after failure, and you fully got your mind into that failure, it could take a toll on you. You know what I mean? And so I find myself just trying to find the positives, and just also trying to find what I could have humanly done in these instances, and personally done. So humanly, as a human being, what could I have done? And then I kind of narrow that down into my personality. What could I have done?
Okay.
Because or the person that I am, what could I have done? Because you can see somebody falling over there, and you can say, well, I'm gonna run and go catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Humanly, that's possible.
Yeah.
You know, you can run and go catch them, but then so a lot of people will beat themselves up because they'll say, well, I could have done that. But then you have to further break it down into like your personality and who you are.
Okay.
And just admit to yourself, like, bro, if you on crutches, you were never gonna make it over there to catch that person.
Mm-hmm.
So humanly, yeah, it was possible.
Yeah.
But for who you are, no, it wasn't possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so like I have to start breaking it down in my mind, like who I am today.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been possible anyway. So do I beat myself up?
No. Exactly.
No.
I agree.
How do I learn from it? Well, I can get better. I could make myself stronger to get off these crutches. Yeah. But as far as today goes, I was on the crutches. So I couldn't run over there and catch that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to have space for yourself. And also because some people, man, what you also see nowadays is people like embracing their problems to a point where it's like, you know, bro, you got to get better. Like,
that's true. You know, whenever you go through these experiences like this, it's always about some type of growth.
Yeah.
And you know, I think people always look at the fact that, okay, I just need to separate from you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, separation is okay. That's cool. You can't stand the hell out of the person. But okay, if you can't stand the person,
you still you.
You still you. You have to you still you. You have to figure out a way how you grow from your past experience up until now.
Yeah.
Let me see how long we've been going on for. Okay, we're going 23 minutes, people. We're good. I didn't keep a track on this, people. Y'all know I don't like to keep y'all longer than 30 minutes. You know, we talking about some stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, everybody's like, okay, it's good to separate from the person. That's always fine. But what do you do after that?
You have to evaluate yourself.
Okay.
And evaluating yourself, man. And that's why I say you have to realize where you're at today.
Okay.
But also, man, if I know, like I said, if I brought it to the example of somebody's falling across the room.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's humanly possible for me to catch them, but it's not personally possible for me to catch them, you know, within who I am.
Okay.
And I'll use the example of that person being on crutches. Well, yeah, like I think some people, man, like they get caught at that and they just, well, I'm just on crutches. That's just who I am. And it's like,
exactly.
Bro, at some point
this is who you have.
Yeah,
this is who you got to deal with.
No, man. I mean, you have to admit so that you don't beat yourself up that today I was on crutches, but you cannot aspire to be the same person for the rest of your life. And you have to, at some point, come to some type of resolution in your mind to change. And a lot of it does start. Most issues start at your mind. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
And I think a lot of people are.
It's a hard hitting one.
It is, man, and so it takes a lot of. It'll take work to change because you have to have a mindset. You have to find, for me, somebody like me, I have to find something positive out of it in order to want to change to that. Like, what's positive? You know, waking up at 4:30 in the morning. I know it's good for me, but I got to find some type of positive about it in order to constantly do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then once I find that, at least for me, once I find that in my mind, then that can bring about that positive change.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that in my marriage, man, we probably should have just sat down. I don't know what I could have done. I really don't, man. I don't know what I could have done. I think I even asked her at one point in time, you know, what could I do?
Now, what was the response?
A lot of emotion. And I mean, I'm not putting that on her, man, but I don't understand it because it's like, at some point you have to come to a resolution, but if the resolution is divorce, then hey, so be it. You know what I mean? Especially if I feel like I don't have any skin in that game. You know what I'm saying? Like I tried. Okay. And also, man, if somebody has a preconceived notion, like, because I think, to a certain extent, she has a preconceived notion in her mind without asking me about what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. But if you don't,
give us a better example of that.
If she want me to pick my socks up, but she sees that I don't, but there was never a conversation that was had about it. And so you just see that I constantly don't pick my socks up. Maybe you might have mentioned it, which that's a strike against me, but if you just, and then the behavior continued. And so then you just get it set in your mind. Well, that's a deal breaker for me and he's never going to pick his socks up. So now I'm just going to file divorce. And it's like, wait a minute, Joe, like you already got it set in your mind. Like we never sat and had a conversation about this.
We never talked about that. Okay, you need me to pick up these damn socks right now.
And I think I heard somebody say, man, about as far as relationships go, that is bound to fail if you have any preconceived notions that aren't communicated.
Yes.
Any type
and I'm gonna tell you why I believe that. Because, and I'm gonna tell you this, there are certain preconceived notions that I had with Megan that I do not have now because I had to let that wall down. Because a preconceived notion, you have one or two things you can do, and you can let it go or you're gonna run with it. You only got two options. There ain't no in between. Like, put up with this. You either gonna run with it or you're gonna leave it alone.
Right.
So the thing is, when that happens, it's just like you have to make a decision. And I had to make a decision on what I want to do. Did I want to take the preconceived notion I had and accept what was actually in front of me? And stop trying to give a narrative to what I believe she's doing based on my own past experiences and not looking at the person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
and not just not looking at the person, but also not just not looking at the person, but also communicating that person to that person your expectations. And if that person basically tells you, like,
I agree,
bro, I can't do a backflip, then you just have to accept that. Or whatever it is that your expectation is for that person.
Because I will tell y'all this about my wife that a lot of y'all probably don't know, that some of y'all don't know unless y'all pay attention to a couple podcast episodes and whatnot. But my wife is blind, visually impaired. So the thing is, when I got with her, it was certain things I had to accept. Like today, the setup to bring my equipment out here to do all this other stuff like that. She ran into some stuff. She was like, "Oh, you trying to kill me?" It's a small expression. But with my wife not being able to see, I have to understand what she means when she says that. You know what I mean? It's like, "Hey, homie, get your crap and move it out of the way real quick so I don't trip and fall over it."
Right.
And that's understandable. So I knew what it was when I was going to be with her, you know, but my wife also has a high standard in terms of doing things on her own. Because my wife is very independent. You know this about my wife. She's very independent. When she wants to do something, she'll get it done. And I don't step on her toes to do it. I don't even try to help. Unless she asks for my help. That's something I have to learn too of being a man. Unless my help is asked for, do not render it. But okay, but that's another thing. I put my hand on the mic, so I hope I know what y'all heard what I said. But anyway, with it, it's accepting what you're gonna get with that person, and it was things that I knew with her. You know, I knew that she was blind, visually impaired. I knew that it was certain things that I was gonna have to pick up slack for and help her with because of her vision impairment. So I don't complain about it. I just adapt to it.
Right.
Because once those expectations are laid out in the beginning, that was a known expectation. I know somebody will watch and say, well, Life Coach Jeff, that was a known expectation. Yes, it was. But also for the ones that come after that, because I have to help her with the blind, visually impaired stuff. I have to move things, but I also need to learn what she needs help with also. So it's more that comes along with that, people. When people give you expectations, you know, you also have to learn what comes behind that, because that's a whole new set of actions. You moved a certain way because you had a preconceived notion, right? But now once something presents itself to you and it's different than what you thought, you have to make a move, and then you have to adapt to what's actually being seen as to what the preconceived notion was. It's deep, man.
It is. It is. You gotta let certain things go. It's certain things, man, that I don't know, man. It's certain things, like I still have these emotions because I'm still going through it. So like there are emotions of anger because I never because it's certain things, man, that I felt like that I never said. I not even felt like, I know that I never said that she she's like, well, you said, and I'm like, I never said that. Like I never.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because you know what? We are gonna wrap it up right here. And what we are gonna do is we are gonna talk about anger next week.
Hey, there we go.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about how to deal with that anger that comes afterwards. I think we did a real good job of hitting on that failure psyche. You know, we talked about some things today that really made people look at and say, okay, what could I have messed up on? Did I mess up on anything? Do I have an attitude of arrogancy to where I just believe I'm the ish and I didn't do nothing wrong? Or are there some things that I can say I contributed to my own demise? Not even divorce, but did I contribute something to my own downfall? And I know I can say that about my life. It's times when I've contributed to my own downfall, and we did a very good job of talking about that. So, man, I appreciate it. So with my people out here, look here. We got my man, Ron Reid with the VNO. You know, it's a lot of stuff we're doing with VNO, man. You know, it's some stuff that we collabing with, we working on and everything, and this is a part of that. So we want to keep that in the motion here. But yeah, we got a lot of things coming, people. We got a lot of things coming. So please keep up with this man, Ron Reid. Reach out to him if you want to hear about us producing podcasts and other stuff like that, because he handles all that info right there. And I just come with what I got. You know, a light may go out. I'm just letting you know, a light may go out, but we'll make sure everything's charged up for y'all. With me, I'm out here. I'm doing my thing. My audience is my audience. My people is my people. They know how it go. So, but all right, man. So, y'all, this is another episode of the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast. And please, I thank you for tuning in. And remember, I love y'all. And he loves y'all, too. Peace out.
Thank you for listening and tuning in to the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast. We do thank you and appreciate and value you as a listener. Now, I would like to just throw in, please follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram as Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, and also Life Coach Jeff Relaford. You can also find me on Facebook as Jeff Relaford. That's my personal page. Go ahead, give me a follow there. I always put up some good inspirational content. And also the business page, Redirect, Regroup, Refocus on Facebook as well. So, all right, you all, thank you for tuning in. And next week, we will be here again. Remember, Redirect, Regroup.